1-2 Disclaimer: this e-book has been written for information purposes only. Every effort has been made to make this e-book as complete and accurate as possible. However, there may be mistakes in typography or content. Also, this e-book provides information only up to the publishing date. Therefore, this e-book should be used as a guide, not as the ultimate source. The purpose of this e-book is to educate. The author and the publisher does not warrant that the information contained in this e-book is fully complete and shall not be responsible for any errors or omissions. The author and publisher shall have neither liability nor responsibility to any person or entity with respect to any loss or damage caused or alleged to be caused directly or indirectly by this e-book. 3 Table of Contents Introduction 1. Track visits 2. Bounce rate 3. Page views and average page views per visit 13.4. Track refer 16.5. Track conversion rates 18.6. Rate of return visitors 23.7. CLV customer lifetime value 26.8. CPA, CPL and ROI 29.4. Introduction: they say that which is measured grows. That is to say that the simple act of measuring some metric or other can be enough to help that metric improve. This is true for weight loss, where simply weighing yourself regularly can help the pounds fall off, and of course it is true of digital marketing. If you are not measuring the progress of your website or the growth, then there is no way for you to apply the scientific method to ensure that it continues on an upward trajectory. Without measuring, you have no way of knowing what's working and what isn't, and you are essentially flying blind. But measuring the success of a website is something that requires a certain science in itself. What precisely should you be measuring? What are the most important metrics? And how do these numbers work together to provide a detailed understanding of your traffic and your success? This guide will attempt to answer all those questions and more by focusing on the 8 most important metrics you need to be tracking. 5.1. Track visits. The first thing to look at is the number of visits you are getting to your website. This metric in itself is not necessarily all that useful, seeing as it doesn't necessarily provide much information regarding the type of person visiting your site, the way they're engaging with your content, or anything else. What's more, is that most websites will not see a visit as the end goal. If you are intending on building brand awareness, engagement and following, then you will need to reduce your bounce rate, see below. If you are trying to make money, then your goal will be to increase your AdSense revenue, or to make more sales of your products. Visits in itself is really just an aside. Despite TS though, you need to know your visits in order to make sense of all the other data that you're getting. You need to know your visits so that you can know what percentage of those visitors are buying from you and thereby calculate your conversion rate. Your visits tell you how many people you have to work with, and they let you formulate a strategy on that basis. And if your main income comes from AdSense impressions rather than clicks, then there is a very good chance that your number of visits is going to correlate pretty much directly with your overall revenue. 6. When looking at this metric though, it's important to recognize the subtle distinctions between the different kinds of hits and visits. For example, you have both visits and unique visits. In many ways, the latter is actually more useful, as this uses cookies stored on your visitors' computers in order to identify repeat visitors. So if you have one mega fan who visits your website 20 times a day, then your unique visits metric will help you to compensate for that and give you a more useful number that is a better reflection of your site's popularity. Another thing to consider is the difference between hits and visits. Hits are different from visits because they actually represent single demand placed on your servers. This means each new visit to your site, but it also means image that gets downloaded, and might also include bots, scripts that work for search engines and other sites as a way of indexing the content on your site. This means that if someone were to link directly to one of your images and embed it on your page, which isn't the done thing but it does happen, then you would see a massive increase in your hits that wouldn't necessarily tell you anything about how many people were actually reading your content. So at the very least, you should look at visits rather than hits. And most likely you are going to want to look at your unique visits.